Good afternoon, I'm Shawn Yao and this is One News Now. Malacanang is urging the public not to let their guards down as the country tallied more than 3,000 new COVID-19 cases per day in the last 3 days. Maricel Halili is reporting to us live from Mandaluyong to tell us details. Mase, with regard to this rise in cases, did spokesman Harry Roque have anything to say about possibly reverting to a stricter quarantine classification?
Yes, Sean, presidential spokesperson Harry Roque, during his press briefing earlier, mentioned that there is no need to impose another enhanced community quarantine, particularly here in Metro Manila. This is despite the fact that even the health department is seeing a surge on the cases of COVID-19. Secretary Roque said that unlike last year, this year we have enough facilities to accommodate those who will have severe cases of COVID-19. And aside from that, the rollout of our vaccination program has already started. The reason why we imposed, or the national government imposed, enhanced community quarantine starting March of last year that lasted for about months is because the national government needed some time to prepare our facilities for COVID-19 patients. Secretary Roque said that our situation now is far different from last year because now we have enough isolation centers and hospitals to accommodate and to attend to COVID-19 patients.
Right, and that situation in hospitals is what I'm going to ask you next. Is it true that hospitals are getting overwhelmed, or at least some healthcare facilities, whether private or public? Of course, I asked Professor Guido David of Octa Research this last week as well. There are text messages going around. Should we believe these messages going around, all these information? Are they accurate?
It's a bit alarming after we heard those reports that we don't have enough facilities and hospital rooms to accommodate COVID-19 patients. So we asked about this to Secretary Roque earlier, but he did mention that we still have enough facilities to accommodate COVID-19 patients. He gave us some figures. He said that about 60% of the ICU bed capacity are still available for those who will have a serious COVID-19 cases. And we still have about 65% of isolation bed capacity still available, 75% ward bed capacity still available. So if we based it on the figures released by Malacanang earlier, we still have enough bed capacity for COVID-19 patients. But of course, we also asked PGH Director Gap Legaspi about it. He said that it is indeed true that there is a rise on the number of COVID-19 patients who went to PGH for consultation, but he denied that they don't have enough bed capacity to accommodate the COVID patients. But he admitted that they are overwhelmed now with the number of non-COVID patients who went to PGH. It's a bit overwhelming compared to the doctors that they have, the medical practitioners that they have. And so now they have a new policy that for now, they will only accommodate those who are emergency cases, life-threatening cases, and pregnant women or pregnant women who are impossible to transfer to another hospital. So they have guidelines on who they are going to accommodate, especially for those non-COVID patients.
All right, so PGH is overwhelmed, but with regular cases and not per se COVID cases. Thank you for clarifying that. Now, you did mention, of course, the vaccine rollout, and I have to ask you, how many individuals have been vaccinated so far? I'm assuming, of course, this is between a mix of Sinovac and AstraZeneca vaccines.
Yes, Sean, it's a mix of AstraZeneca and Sinovac vaccine. So far, based on the figures released by Malacanang earlier, we have more than 29,000 individuals who are already vaccinated with Sinovac and AstraZeneca. Secretary Roque did mention that more than 300,000 doses of Sinovac were already deployed to different areas of the country, and about 50,000 doses of AstraZeneca were already deployed. They're hoping to finish the vaccination for this first batch before the end of April. so that they can start the vaccination for the next priority for the senior citizens.
All right, speaking of that priority list for vaccination, has the Health Department approved the NITAG's recommendations for prioritizing who gets to receive the AstraZeneca jabs?
They did. Malacanang confirmed it earlier, Sean, that the Health Department has already approved the recommendation of the National Immunization Technical Advisory Group, or the NITAG, when it comes to the prioritization of those who will receive the vaccine. Secretary Roque said that the content of the NITAG's recommendation is just the same as the guidelines that they have drafted for Sinovac. The only difference is their recommendation when it comes to age group, because as we all know, Sinovac is only recommended to be vaccinated for those who are 15 or 18 to 59 years old. But AstraZeneca is recommended to be vaccinated, or is allowed to be vaccinated even to senior citizens. So that's the only difference.
All right, moving on to another issue, Mase, I have to ask you this. Was there any reaction from Malacanang regarding the killing of these 9 labor activists in southern Luzon that happened yesterday?
Secretary Roque defended the statement of President Duterte when it comes to killing of the members of the New People's Army. He did mention that if we base it on the international humanitarian law, President Duterte has no violation when he called on the military personnel to kill the communist or the terrorist, because we're in a war against insurgency. That's the defense of President or presidential spokesperson Harry Roque. However, he also mentioned that there will be an investigation when it comes to the killing of these 9 activists, because they have to prove, or the military personnel has to prove, that there is a necessity and proportionality to the activities that they did over the weekend. If there is the absence of necessity, this is not killing of terrorists, or this is not a case of war against insurgency, but a case of murder. So Secretary Roque also mentioned that he will invite Justice Secretary Minardo Guevara to discuss these matters and to clarify their target when it comes to the investigation in this case.
That's right, and we will be eagerly awaiting the results of that investigation. Last question, Mase. Will the President be addressing the public tonight? It is Monday.
It is Monday, so we're actually expecting President Duterte to once again address the public this evening. But this time, he will be talking to the people from Davao. His cabinet secretary, especially those members of the IATF, have already flew to Davao this afternoon, including Secretary Roque, to join the President in their meeting this evening. And then after the meeting, the President will address the public, and hopefully he will discuss the issues on the COVID-19 cases, particularly the projection of Octa Research Group. Sean?
All right, lots of things still waiting to happen today. Thank you so much for that update. That was Marcel Halili reporting to us live from Mandaluyong City. And here are other COVID-19 stories from around the world. China's foreign ministry says the government is already planning to set up various vaccination sites to inoculate its citizens abroad. The agency added that jabs will also be rolled out for those who will be participating in the 2022 Winter Olympics. A senior official from the European Medicines Agency, or EMA, is urging members of the European Union not to approve Russia's Sputnik V shot pending data review. The EMA, the body in charge of reviewing medicines for the EU, just started evaluating the shot 4 days ago. And the U.S. government has so far administered over 90 million doses of COVID-19 vaccines across the country. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention says the shots are from U.S.-based pharmaceutical firms Pfizer and Moderna. And an Italian laboratory is developing a treatment against new COVID-19 variants. Let's find out more from Bloomberg Quick Take.
The new drug under development in Siena is actually one of the few which might be particularly effective against the new variants of the virus. Toscana Life Science has been developing a new kind of monoclonal antibodies, a drug which has been one of the most effective in the treatment of COVID-19. The drug is a lab-made protein which mimics the immune system response, and it could be particularly helpful for people who have not yet been vaccinated and contract the virus. Let's now enter the lab. I will now interview Claudia Sala. She is heading the research team that is working on this new drug. Why do you think this drug could be effective against the new variants?
So this drug is especially effective against the variant which came originally from Wuhan, and then against the variant which is spread mainly in Europe. Most recently, we proved that our antibody is effective against the so-called UK variant as well. So we are very optimistic about that, and studies are ongoing to finally prove that it works against the South African variant and the Brazilian variant.
Why the drug you're working on and you're developing could be very easily and quickly administered?
So in the clinical trials, which are going to start soon, we will test the possibility to deliver the drug with an intramuscular injection. So this would simplify the logistics enormously, because we would go from IV, so intravenous delivery, to intramuscular delivery. And this would certainly make things easier, because patients affected by coronavirus could get the drug either at home or at their doctors, and so they don't need to stay long at the hospital, and so to get this drug to them.
The visit to the lab has been incredibly insightful. It is amazing to see firsthand how a new potential cure for a virus that is straining the whole world can originate from the work of a highly skilled team, but made of only a few dozen of people.
And back here in the Philippines, a couple in Batangas were among the 9 labor activists that were killed in simultaneous police operations in Calabarzon on Sunday. Romel Lopez joins us live from Batangas for more details. Hi, Romel. What is the latest there from Batangas?
Yes, Sean, the relatives of a couple killed in a police operation here in Batangas on Sunday described their death as senseless and gruesome. Emotions poured during the wake of Ana Marie and Ariel Evangelista here in Barangay Calayo, Nasugbu, Batangas. The couple were among the 9 activists killed in simultaneous raids in Calabarzon on Sunday morning. According to Ana Marie's mother, Rosenda Limita, the couple were just resting in their cottage along with their 10-year-old son when a group of fully geared police officers arrived past 4 in the morning. They immediately arrested Ariel and handcuffed him while dragging Ana Marie as well. According to Rosenda, she was told that the two would be brought to a house of a relative nearby. Ana Marie cried for help while they were being dragged inside, but it stopped after several gunshots were heard. Their 10-year-old son survived by hiding under the bed. Immediately after, the police took custody of the couple's body. Rosenda said that they were not members of the New People's Army, but just ordinary residents who rent out cottages and give boat rides to tourists. She added that Ana Marie and Ariel were active in pushing for the concerns of fisher folks in the area, but it is not enough reason for them to be killed. The mother said that the two were even hit by a metal pipe before being shot to death. Sean, the relatives of Ana Marie and Ariel are now seeking for justice as they demand for the killings to stop and hold those behind the so-called Bloody Sunday accountable. Sean?
Thank you for giving us that update. That was News 5's Romel Lopez joining us live from Batangas. For more updates, visit News 5, the Philippine Star, and Business World online. Visit our website, onenews.ph, for more in-depth analysis. You can also catch One News on the Signal Play app. Register for a free account at www.signalplay.com and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. Mask on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines. I'm Sean Yao. We are One News.